Wow. It's been a while since we've talked. I hope you're doing well. I hope life is good. I have so much. I have so much that I want to say. I'm going to try to keep this to a minimum so that this video does not get long. But we've been absent for quite a while and for good reason. Y'all, I thought Patrick wasn't going to make it through this last month. I had moments that I thought that death was going to take this man. He got really, really sick at the end of August, which I thought was COVID. I made him take a COVID test. It turned out negative. He had been uh, in and out of the ER a couple times. He was hospitalized a couple times. He had been to the clinic a couple times, and it was just a continuous thing. And this sickness that had him, he could not get over it. So during one of his first initial clinic visits, where he called in because he knew he was sick, he's like, I need to get some medicine or whatever. They did see, or actually, they didn't see. I'm lying. This first doctor just listened to his chest because he was coughing and he was having side pain. And he said, it sounds like you're developing bronchitis. Okay. And so he's like, I'm going to prescribe this to you, yada, 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 go home, rest. Okay. Okay, cool. So we go get the medicine and we go home, and he is just he's like in extreme pain. He is really sick. He had been passing out. He couldn't eat a week prior. Okay. So this had already been going on for a while. He was trying to work out here one day, just like fever, aches, the whole thing, pushing himself. So we get home from his clinic appointment, and I walk out of the living room, and I come back, and he is laid out on the couch. Like somehow he got himself wedged in the cushions, and he is in so much pain. He's holding his side. It's like he's coughing stuff up. His eyes are bulging, and he's in so much pain. He cannot move. So I'm yelling for my son Cody to come help me. I rush him to the ER. He keeps like passing out, and he's like, oh my gosh, where am I, or whatever. And I'm freaking out. So we get to the ER. I cannot get him out of the car into the ER. So they have to come and take him in. At that point, they admit him. This was the first admission. And on the scans, it showed that he was developing pneumonia. But they actually admitted him because due to his Crohn's, he had inflammation, which was causing a blockage. And he said it was twisted and mangled. Like his intestines looked twisted and mangled. And they had to take him off of all food, all water, nothing. So he was in the hospital for 2 days. And they basically ran fluids through him, monitored him, and that was kind of it. So they sent us home a couple days later, and he is still so sick. And he tries to go back to work, and on his way home, he had passed out, driving. And so it was like, okay, I'm gonna have to take you to work. You can't drive, and he was also kind of afraid to drive because that was a scary situation for him. He just could not get better. And so after that week passed, we had ended up driving to his work. I drove him to his work to turn in some doctor notes, and he physically can't hardly get back to the car. Like he is so sick. He is standing at the car, and he's just like, and I'm like, I have to take you to the ER. I know we're in Arkansas. I know we're not at home, but we've got to get to the ER. So I take him to the ER there, and they look at everything, and she's like, well, you look fine. We see the pneumonia. Just do what you've been doing. And they sent him home. He is still so sick, y'all. So we go home, and he calls. I think the next day he calls to get another clinic appointment. And we get him into the clinic, and it's his actual doctor, the one that he actually sees. It's her. And she's like, you're going into respiratory failure. you have to be admitted. This has not been treated. You're not getting airflow. Like, it was a big deal. She's like, you can either, do you want to be admitted here? If not, we're going to transport you to the next town over, but you have to be admitted. So he's like, I'm just going to stay here again. It's close to home. It'll be easy for me. And I was like, just do what you need to do. Don't worry about that. But okay, so they admitted him back in, and they did. The doctor that she teamed up with, they were amazing. He was in the hospital for 3 days at this point, and he was going into respiratory failure. His lungs had fluid on them, and there were some issues with his heart, and they were saying heart failure. And he was just really so sick. You guys, during that week, I was starting to plan his end of life. I didn't know if he was going to make it. I was so fearful. And one night the Lord had to deal with me in my sleep. And he told me, you pray for him. Don't be afraid. Pray for him. So I got up the next morning and I told Patrick, I was like, I need to pray for you. So I prayed for him, and I was having to leave that day. And I just didn't want to leave him. I was afraid to leave him. I was afraid something was going to happen. He was going to pass out. Something was going to happen, and I was going to come back and find him laid out somewhere, at end of life. And so anyway, the Lord had dealt with me on that, and I began to come out of that, planning the end of life and speaking life. Like, no, you're going to live. This is not going to take you. This, whatever this is, cannot have your life. You are going to live. Like, that was my prayer over him. And, he did come out of it. He's doing a lot better. He's driving himself around. He's back at work. And, we are making plans for here. We're trying to get back in the groove, because, he got out on September 9th. He got out of the hospital on September 9th. And on September 10th, we went and he put money down on a customized cabin. So it was going to be a 4 to 6 week build. So any moment, they could call and say, hey, we're done with your cabin. We're going to deliver it. But at the state that the property's in at the moment, we don't know how they're going to get it up here, because it's bigger. It's bigger than what we've ever had brought up here. So we're going to have to widen our driveway, and the big hill, he's going to have to widen it so they can actually get this thing up here. It'll be a 2-bedroom, 1 bath with living room, kitchen area, cabin. So that it's going to go right here. And this is where the septic is. This is one of the last things that he was able to work on until he was like calling it quits. And I was so thankful that day, because he was so sick. But in the midst of all of this, you guys, there had been some things on my heart. There had been some things that I needed closure on. And I was still kind of reserved about, a part of me was reserved about moving back up here, not knowing if, for one, this man that I call my husband loved me. Okay. And why didn't we have rings? Like, does he not want people to know we're married? Like, these were legit things in my heart that I kept between me and the Lord. And when he got sick, I was going to bring it up to him, but he was so sick during that week that, oh, that's him now, that I just couldn't. So I laid that down. But that last doctor's visit or hospital stay, when he also thought that, he might not make it, I feel like we had some reconciliation, and there was some closure. And I do know that he loves me. I love him. It was his idea to get some rings. So we got some rings. And the following weekend, after he had gotten out of the hospital, he reserved us a place in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and he said it was like our healing retreat, like a healing weekend. And during that weekend, I had come down with some stuff, and I was really, really sick. and I was trying to power through, but he had booked us some private baths in the mineral water at Hot Springs, and that was amazing. And he got us a room lakeside, and that was amazing. And we had a really good weekend. And here we are. It's been a long month, but the plans have not changed. We have to push ourselves a little bit more now because, no, you know what? I don't know that we will. We will have to, but I know the Lord's going to work it out. And I know that He had to allow some of this to happen to put us in a different place, even me, a different mindset. And even after all that we've been through, I love this man, not just a physical love, it's a spiritual love. I know that sounds crazy, but I have been in war battle for him, and I will continue to be in war battle for him in prayer, is what I'm talking about, in prayer, because I feel like for a long time he was my prayer assignment. And I prayed for him even when he didn't know I was praying for him. Even when he said he hated me and didn't love me, I was still praying for him because I knew there is great purpose, and not just him, but in us. There's something. There's got to be something that in our lives we are to do for the kingdom. And I knew that this was not how he was going to go. There was things left to do. And the enemy was not going to take his life. And I still believe that. I still believe that. And I will continue to war and prayer over him and my family, because that's what we do. That is what we do. If you don't know of anything else that you're called to do, that is what you do. And I am so blessed to have some amazing women in my life that have been with me in the prayer battles since, guys, it's just amazing how since the beginning, like when we were first separated until now, how they've just been with me and they've battled with me and I've battled with them. Like, get on the floor and pray and cry and do all the things, intercede. And they intercede for me. I intercede for them. They intercede for my family. I intercede for their family. Anything that we have in our hearts that we need to cry out before the Lord, we do it together. And we've been in contact, close contact now for over a year, almost every day. We meet almost every week for prayer and strengthening, encouraging, going out to eat and just having them in my life. We think we can fight alone. There are some things that you need some good, solid men and women of God to be right beside you, to war with you, to pray with you, to reach heaven for you. Okay? And they've done that, and they did that through this whole sickness even. Some of the things that the Lord had put on our heart to pray about, things are happening very quickly. Prayers are happening very quickly, like the answers are coming very quickly. And the testimonies that we're hearing, it's like, wow. I mean, as soon as we've warred it and we've prayed it and we've proclaimed it and we've put it in the courtrooms of heaven, that stuff has been coming to pass, and it has been so amazing. It has been so amazing. This last Monday, I went to the prayer meeting at the church, and there was just a few of us there, and oh my goodness, I can't even explain. I can't even explain what the presence of God feels like. He was in that room, y'all. Hour and a half went by, and I did not cough one time, and I had been coughing and coughing and coughing, and I hadn't been coughed one time, and my voice is now stronger, but he was in that room. And then yesterday we met, me and the girls, and we were on the floor praying for each other, and I'm telling you, that's where strength comes from. That's where strength comes from. So I just wanted to catch you guys up. this is all we got done. So this weekend he's gonna widen out the road, and oh guys, I got these they're called flex rods, and I'm getting ready to do a little bit of worship out here. I'm gonna post some I guess worship videos on the shorts and on TikTok. And anyway, they go in, let's see, I was putting them in my worship flags. I was taking out the big dowel rods and putting in the flex rods because they're like lighter. And oh, I think I'm gonna, hey Jonathan, I think I'm gonna use these. So anyway, I'm excited. I haven't got to try them yet, but I'm excited to, because I'm hoping that yeah, it's gonna change the game. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and I'll be back. I hope you're doing well. We're doing well. We're blessed. I can't complain.